and welcome back everyone. In this series of video we are studying about kingdom fungi, and in our last video we studied about zygomycetes, and this is the fourth video from the chapter kingdom fungi where we'll be studying about Ascomycetes. Okay, for the rest of the video from this particular chapter you can visit my playlist. All right, so let's begin with the topic. Ascomycetes are also known as sac fungi because their reproductive structure are formed inside a sac-like structure known as ascus. Okay, that ascus is sac-like, that is why sac fungi, and name of the reproductive structure is ascus, that is why Ascomycetes. Okay, now you see they are saprophytic or parasitic. That means they depend on the dead and decaying matter also, and if they are parasitic they depend on host also. Okay, and they are septate. That means they have a hyphae which is septate. Okay, hyphae is separated by a septa. All right, again next is they are tube like hyphae with pores. Okay, this kind of fungi, their hyphae are tube like and they have a pores also. Okay, in the septa there is a pore. You can watch my previous video for more such detail. Okay, now you can see the basis of naming: presence of sac like reproductive structure known as ascus, and again the sexual reproduction happens with the help of a conidia, that is exospore. This thing is important, children, that is their spores are not endospores. They reproduce with the help of exospores. Exospores are those spores which are not enclosed inside a bag. Okay, so this is a diagram which is showing you the asexual reproduction. Okay, so please come out here. Rather than this are hyphae. Okay, these are the hyphae network. Okay, and from the hyphae, the vertical hyphae which grows is known as conidiophore. Okay, the vertical hyphae is known as conidiophore, and at the top of conidiophore there are conidia. Okay, and these conidia, they are present in a chain form. All right, when we studied about zygomycetes we saw sporangiophore. Isn't the top of the sporangiophore there was sporangia, but here there is conidiophore, and at the top of the conidiophore there is conidia. Okay, and only difference is that inside the sporangia there were spores, but the conidia, they are itself spores. All right, the conidia, they are not enclosed by any kind of bag like structure, but the conidia are themselves spores and they are exposed outside. All right, so what happens is these spores, it fall off and then it will again grow as an individual hyphae. Again it will produce the same kind of conidiophore, it will produce same kind of conidia, and again the life cycle goes on. Okay, that means from these to these, again from these to these, from here to it will go to the same place, isn't it? I hope you got the asexual reproduction. Into the sexual reproduction, children, sexual reproduction happens with the involvement of two types of strand, that is plus strand and minus strand. Okay, here what is happening, the both strand there is the growth of bulbous sexual bodies. In the both hyphae, okay, there is a growth of bulbous sexual body. The bulbous sexual body, they contain a dense protoplasm and numerous nuclei. Okay, and all the nuclei inside this also and inside these also, they are at a haploid stage, that is N stage. All right, and the process of fusion is known as plasmogamy, and in this process there is a formation of bridge between the two bulbous sexual body. Okay, you see here there is a formation of bridge between two bulbous sexual body, and this process is known as plasmogamy. Okay, and after plasmogamy what happens is there is a stage known as dikaryon stage. Okay, in a dikaryon stage what happens is the two protoplasm, they fuse but the nuclei are still apart from one another. Okay, this is the most important feature of Ascomycetes because these stage last for long time. Okay, and these stage also mark the gap between plasmogamy and synkaryon. Okay, that is why this is a very important stage. Okay, because they mark the gap between these phase and these phase. You see, between these phase and these phase there is a gap, but in other organism we have studied so far there is no gap, right? After the protoplasm they fuse, the nuclei also they fuse, isn't it? Whenever we study about the cell division, then what happens, there is first cytokinesis, and then that is followed by karyokinesis. There is no stage like dikaryon, but in them there is a stage known as dikaryon. All right, and you see here, after the formation of dikaryon there is a formation of ascus. And again another thing, dikaryon becomes important stage because during this stage only there is a formation of ascus, and this ascus is very important part because we have named this fungi on the basis of this part itself, right? So this is again so important. So during the dikaryon stage, what is happening is there is also a formation of sac-like body known as ascus. Okay, and these ascus can also be known as ascogenous hyphae. All right, and after the formation of ascus, finally the two nuclei they meet, and this step is known as synkaryon or karyogamy. And in this step the nucleus is now in diploid stage. Okay, the stage in which the nucleus is in an diploid stage is synkaryon. Okay, and after synkaryon you see there is a meiosis, there is a meiotic division, and because of meiotic division one cell is producing 4 haploid nuclei, and out of 4 nuclei 2 contains a nuclei which is like that of minus strand, and 2 contain a nuclei which is like that of plus strand. You see 2 are red and 2 are black. Okay, and these are now given a new name known as spores. Okay, they are no more nuclei now they can be named as ascospores, and they are N. All right, and next is these again undergo mitotic division, and 2 red spores are giving 4 red spores, and 2 black spores gives 4 black spores. Okay, and there is also a formation of ascocarp, that is a fruiting body, and this is also sac like. Okay, that is why this fungi is known as sac fungi, because we can see a sac like structure out here also during the formation of ascus, and out here also during the formation of fruiting body, and the name of the fruiting body is ascocarp. And then what happens is finally the spores they are released, that is the ascospores they are released, and again they will give rise to the same mycelium. Okay, minus strand mycelium and the plus strand mycelium. All right, the life cycle of Ascomycetes is over, that is the involvement of plus and minus strand, both of them they form bulbous body. The bulbous body they conjugate, and that process is known as plasmogamy. After the plasmogamy there is a stage known as dikaryon stage, in which there is a fusion of protoplasm, but there is no fusion of the nuclei. Inside a single protoplasm the 2 nuclei they remain separated. Okay, and during this stage itself there is a formation of ascus. All right, and that nuclei from the dikaryon stage it moves towards the ascus, and inside the ascus they finally meet, and then the process is known as synkaryon, and the nucleus in the synkaryon stage is diploid nucleus, and this diploid nucleus is undergo meiosis, giving a 4 haploid nucleus, and 4 haploid nucleus 2 represent minus strand, and to another 2 they represent plus strand. Okay, and again in the next step they undergo mitosis division, and 2 will give rise to 4, and another 2 will give rise to 4, and finally there is a formation of a sac, that is ascocarp. All right, and that is known as a fruiting body, and to form those fruiting body the spores are released, and again they start living as an individual strand, forming a individual hyphae network. Okay, so that's all for today, and in the next video we'll be studying about Basidiomycetes. Till then, stay safe, stay tuned, and keep learning. Thank you.